All right, perfect. All right, so I'm speaking to a large group of people that are mothers or possibly want to be mothers in the future. And so I figured I'd start off with this story here. I need a little bit of your, I guess, interaction, like more like waving and possibly even jumping in. How powerful are our decisions as we're growing in a business like this? So you're laying next to your boyfriend, husband, child's dad, whoever, and the baby starts crying. Has that ever happened to any of you? And that the diaper needs to be changed or something along those lines. What's up, Jessica Rauch? Right? So that's happened before. I'm not crazy, right? Now you're faced in that moment with a choice. You can jump right out and be like, hey, it's my kid. I should just go see what's going on. But it's also 3:30 in the morning. And I know most of you are thinking, Mike, you're not even a parent yet. Yeah, I get it. But just hear me out. Ready? So it's 3:30 in the morning. You could jump right out of bed and you could go see what the baby needs and you'd be smooth. But most of the time, if getting up to take care of the baby is like any other decision that we face in life, there's times where you might hesitate to just immediately make that decision. Yes or no? Right? Because you're tired. And laying there, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me clearly? All right, cool. Trisha's saying my connection's not great, so I just want to make sure. Trisha's saying okay. What's up, Miss Newsy? Hello, hello. All right, Trish jumped on. Shoot me a text again if we're having trouble with connection, but everyone give me a thumbs up so far, so we're going to keep going. So you guys following with me? Baby's crying. It's 3:30 in the morning. Okay, so follow with me and how this relates to your business. Now, there are times where you probably just jump up and go see what the baby needs. Now, there are probably other times where you do the opposite, where you lay there for a moment, and what are the thoughts that go through your head if you don't jump right up? Like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. What else? Oh, look at my husband sleeping so like a rock. Why wouldn't he just get up? Right? What else? What other thoughts? If you choose not to get up, it could be, why right now? Or she was just up 2 hours ago. What the hell? And this thing that you love, suddenly mentally in your head, can start to become an obligation. Or even, let's call it a nuisance or annoying at times, right? What else? My baby, like, oh my gosh, my baby's such a bad baby, right? And so you have these thoughts that go through your head of inconvenience, why right now, right? Or worse, you start resenting other people in your life. Why is my husband not getting up to help? Why is my boyfriend not getting up to help? Why is my baby choosing to cry at 3:30 in the morning? And I could go on and on and on. Now, I know some of you guys are like, you're not a dad yet, Mike. It's crazy for you to be using a parent analogy. But am I hitting home at all? Is this making even a little bit of sense? Now, what's my point? A lot of those thoughts of, oh my gosh, what the heck, inconvenience, what's wrong with my husband? He's such a lazy ass. He's such a bad dad. My kid's crazy. What the hell? All those thoughts were a byproduct of what? Can anybody like type what they think that is? Or just take themselves off mute real quick? All those thoughts were a simple byproduct of you not what? Making. What up, Chelsea?
Hi.
It's a byproduct of you not just making a decision and taking action, right? That moment of indecision is what was the fertile ground for all these other crazy thoughts. Now, let's relate that back for a second, okay? You have this amazing opportunity with a business like this. And you get to Ruby, and getting to Diamond is obviously a really amazing opportunity with a bonus attached to it, leadership bonuses, financial opportunity, freedom. And for those of you who are on right now and you are Diamonds, you have this opportunity to maintain your bonus, grow past that. But what happens is a lot of times people get to Ruby or get to their Diamond promotion, and the choice to grow, the choice to do something that's not urgent, suddenly doesn't feel as important. And what happens in your business if you don't start treating every day, all 30 days of the month, like it's the last day of the month? Well, suddenly you sit there and you ponder it a little more, and 3 days go on, and 5 days go on, and 7 days go on. And have you ever noticed that you start to have some of those same types of thoughts we were just talking about? If you were to not get up in the middle of the night and take care of your baby? What the hell? Why is Mike making me get on another Zoom training? Oh, this is so inconvenient. I'd be so much easier with just a normal job. But yet when you're just completely in action, how many of you ever had those moments where you're just completely in action in this business and all the negative doubts and thoughts go away? But it's those moments where you allow indecision and you allow inaction to happen, that those other thoughts and blaming of other people, focusing on the obligation, blaming people, start to seep in. Just so I have an idea that I'm not talking crazy, can you just give me a thumbs up if this makes sense? The whole when you're not making a decision, when you're not in action, yeah, what up? Right? When you're not in action, those things seep in. So what do you think I wanted to start today's meeting with? And that is, regardless of where you're at for the month, regardless of when you hit Ruby, you might have hit Ruby last month, and maybe you hit Ruby 6 months or a year ago, and maybe you even lost rank. Well, my reminder to you is, how in action have you been since you hit Ruby? And for those of you who've hit Diamond and you're listening, how in action have you been since you hit Ruby or since you hit Diamond? Okay? Because it's funny, when you make the decision and you just get in action, all those decisions go away. In fact, I can imagine that once you get up, you check on the baby. This is at least the way I'm dreaming it up to be, right? You take care of the baby and everything like that. Your love is just there. It's just present, or it's even stronger. But in the moment where you're in bed going, what the hell, what the hell, what the hell, the love is minimal. I'm waiting for all the moms on the group to be like, Mike, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. All right? Okay? But I do get that this happens in the business. And so step number one I wanted to cover today, and why we're getting back to these Ruby and above trainings, is because oftentimes going from Ruby to Diamond and Diamond to Triple is just the matter of having this fresh, new excitement. Like Ruby is just the beginning. For a while, Ruby was like the arriving point. Like I was working to get to Ruby. And now you want to reset and be like, Ruby's just the beginning. It's this fresh opportunity, and now it's time to work. Now it's time to really take advantage of this thing and figure it out. Number two, if you're going to grow yourself as a leader, number one, it starts with action. Number two, it starts with an ownership mentality that some of you guys understand, but I want to remind you of. And an ownership mentality means you take full responsibility for all the failures and successes on your team. Meaning we never blame what? The customers, the time of the year, the people's financial situation. Okay? Going from Ruby to Diamond is easy, is simple, but not easy. I'll say it again. Going from Ruby to Diamond is simple, but it's not easy. And in my opinion, it takes these three things that I'm starting today off with to go from Ruby to Diamond. And that was number one, like seeing Ruby as just the launching point, the starting point, and taking bigger action than you ever did to get to Ruby. Number two is to start to take an ownership mentality. How many of you would agree that a lot of times when you're new, getting up to Ruby, it's like you buy into the fact that you run your own business, but it's also very much like a side gig. It's like you work for It Works, you don't work for yourself. It's like, yeah, I'm an It Works distributor. Okay? And I find oftentimes that the difference between going from just being a part-time distributor, a Ruby to a Diamond, and that ownership is like when people ask you what you do, what do you say? I'm an owner of my own network marketing company. I'm a network marketing professional. I'm a future Diamond leader. But there's this ownership around everything that you do. There's never blaming of other people, blaming of the situation, etc. Okay? So number one, massive action. Number two, ownership mentality. Number three,
it's in the same Southwest Vegas.
Who is that? Susie, could you hit the mute button? What's up, Susie? You can just hit the mute button on yours, right? And so,
I love this property for him because
the third and final thing.
Yeah, it definitely has that cool millionaire moment.
Sorry.
Hey, Rachel, while I'll do this, can you go into the users and mute Susie, please? If she didn't get to it yet. Okay. Awesome. Okay. And so the last one is a recommitment to like having a hunger for growth. I know you've heard all three things here before. So if you're like, I've heard this before, my question to you today as we relaunch our Ruby and Emeralds training is how much are you implementing these things daily? Ask yourself that question honestly right now. How well are you implementing these three things daily? And that's number one, being in action. Number two, taking ownership over your business. And number three, a commitment and a hunger to growth, right? Here's a good telltale sign. When It Works Wired sends you notifications about videos and calls, do you just swipe it so it goes away like, all right, just another thing? Or do you go, oh, wow, I got to jump on that? Like, you stay plugged in. Do you want to learn everything? Right? Whether it's the family call or whether it's Cammie Dempsey's trainings. When you see a diamond go live in one of the group pages, do you go, oh, I probably know what they're going to say? Or do you go, what can I learn from this training? Right? Do you have a book that you read daily? Are you doing something to grow your vision of yourself in this industry? And if that's not something that you're doing consistently, you're going to struggle growing from Ruby to Diamond because there's leadership qualities that are required. And I'll end with this. I had been a 10-year direct sales and network marketing expert, right, in 2 different companies. And yet when I got into It Works, I know that there's always a white belt mentality required. Whether I go from karate to Muay Thai to jiu-jitsu. My karate background will help me in jiu-jitsu, but it will not be the reason I succeed, and I have to have a fresh mentality. And so I had 10 years of experience in sales and direct sales. And you can ask Leah, when I finally decided to get involved with network marketing, all I did was read network marketing books. I humbled myself and said, I don't care what my past experience is. I started studying online direct sales because all I've ever done is in-person direct sales. I started to study network marketing because I had done direct sales network marketing, right? And I just, even myself with 10 years of experience, I just started reading books. I paid for trainings. I paid for online training modules, and I just studied the industry for a year. And I would encourage you, if you're at Ruby at this point, to get hungry about your opportunity ahead of you. All right, so I hope that kind of just gets our mentality right as we kick things off. Are you in massive action daily? Are you taking ownership, or are you blaming and sitting there going, why me? I suck. I'm not good enough, right? Are you taking ownership of your failures and your success? And number 3, are you doing something to grow yourself specifically in this industry? Whether it's reading the book GoPro, whether it's watching YouTube videos on network marketing professionals, or whether it's watching every It Works Wired thing. How do you think I always know what Cammie Dempsey and these people say during their lives? Even as a triple diamond with 14 years of experience in this industry, when I see a leader that's making more money than me in this industry teaching, I don't care what I got to do. I jump on, I grab headphones, or I tag it, I save it, and I watch it at the gym later that day or during a car ride home. I almost never listen to music in my car because I always use that as an opportunity to listen to some sort of training video. All right. I'm going to pass it over to Rachel. All right. And we wanted to talk because growing from Ruby to Diamond is not just getting more customers, it's getting more distributors. And Rachel's had her highs and her lows with getting distributors. But what she has found is that when she's implementing a lot of the tips that she's about to give, the interest back in getting distributors always spikes. And so for some of you, you're going to hear this and it might be a reminder. And for some of you, you're going to hear this and it might be new. I want you to listen to Rachel from a place of, but on a scale from 1 to 10, how well am I implementing these things? And then we're going to go into some really good time management tips at the end to make sure that during the summer we're working. One of them is a tip called the 30-minute tip that I've been teaching a lot of people, and they've been loving it. So I can't wait to share that with you. All right, let's pass it over to Rachel on signing distributors and lifestyle posts.
Hey everyone, I am super excited. Like Mike said, I've had a lot of ups and downs over the past 2.5 years. But something that I've really been doing lately that's really been catapulting my business and signing distributors is really focusing and experimenting with my lifestyle posts. I'm really excited to share with you some of the kind of perspectives and some of the things that I've been doing. So I just wanted to kind of lay this out in terms of trust. One thing that I really realized is that the whole point of connecting with people is to get them to trust you. And why do they need to trust you? It's because they need to buy into you. Before they trust the company and the products, they need to trust you. There's so many things out there. There's so many people selling things. They might even know other It Works distributors. So it's up to you to build that trust and build that rapport so that they're going to buy from you, join your team, because you've taken the time to get to know them. You've taken the time to get to know their needs, their lives, their goals. You care about them, and they know that you built a relationship even before they decided to buy. And what that shows is that this is how you're going to treat them and act and interact with them after they already join your team, which actually dissolves some of the fear that they're going to have and shows them that they're not going to be doing this alone and that they're going to be part of a community that really wants to get to know them and help them succeed. Network marketing is all about relationships and trust, not just sales. You really want to show them that ultimately the company, the products, you are going to add value to their life. And that's kind of where I've just learned a lot about building trust in those relationships with people. But not only do they want to know that you've taken the time to get to know their needs, but that you also took the time to share parts of yourself with them, because you're not just a robot or a digital advertisement. And I feel like some people forget that. You know, once you start this business and you start talking to them, they automatically assume all you're going to do is talk to them about the business. So posting and doing quality lifestyle posts shows them that you're still a human being and that you take the time to show your life and what's going on in your life and your likes and your dislikes and your hopes and your dreams. And that's what builds the trust, showing them what you're all about. And that's how you help them to open up with you about their lives and their needs and their goals, so that you can kind of see where they're at and how best to help them. It allows them to help them find pieces that they can relate to in your life and really, really open up to you. And it also helps them to start talking about their whys before you even approach it to them, because they're finding ways to connect with you in your posts and how this business can translate into their lives and say, oh, I can do this and I can do this. Something that the team has really been talking about lately is personal branding. I don't know if you guys checked out the Zoom with Sherry, which was phenomenal. If you haven't, go check it out. It's one of the best videos I've seen in a while, or one of the best Zooms that I've seen. She's amazing. I've been like stalking her ever since. But this is really how you show people what you're all about. It's kind of like the how. It's all about showcasing your life and all those things that I just mentioned. What I like about it is that it showcases it in a way that's not just dumping things on your social network, but it's totally unique to you, and it's personalized with your likes and your dislikes and your dreams and your visions. And it's really such a fun process. I've really been experimenting lately and trying to get to know myself and growing myself. I've been experimenting with different colors I want my social pages to look like. I've been experimenting with what types of posts, how long my posts, whether I want to even make a post or do live videos. I'm doing a live video challenge right now that I'm totally nervous about, but I'm doing it and it's been good so far. But I do a live video every single day because I want to see if I connect with people better in a video format than just posting all the time. So really being able to experiment is awesome. And it's one of the few things in life that no one's going to dictate your personal brand to you. You have 100% control over your personal brand. You make the decisions. You decide what works for you. You decide what you like and what you don't like. So that's part of the reason that I really love personal branding.
And Rachel, with your live video challenge, you're doing 30 days of live videos, right?
Yeah, so I just decided to do it after watching the Zoom with Sherry. I did my own challenge. I know we're doing one in Champions, but I just kind of wanted to, I'm the type of person that needs to just throw myself into something, so that's what I did. And so I have a jar. It's on my phone.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you show us the popsicle sticks you did?
Yeah. So I ended up not making 30 because I ran out of topics, but it works because now that I've been thinking about what to do live Zooms on, all these topics are coming in my head. Like today, I was super nervous about doing the Zoom. I was just totally in my head today, and I did a live video about it. And I did a live video about, oh my gosh, I took Confianza. I need it to kick in. Like, this is me. Like, I'm very introverted, and sometimes I'm not all put together, and you don't have to be perfect to do those, to, like, do things like that, and just finding ways to connect with people and just be honest with them. And I love doing little things like this. Like, only a couple of these are about the business. Not all of your posts should be about the business. Remember, they want to see you as a regular human being, but when you want to integrate the business into your personal branding and into your online journal, so to speak, follow the 3F rule: finances, freedom, fun. And it really keeps it simple, and it allows you to mix your It Works posts in with your personal branding in a way that doesn't disrupt what you're building, and really makes it flow without kind of separating it like, this is my life, but this is my business. It really integrates it. And the 3 categories are so easy to find examples in your life, like finances. You know, sometimes they're going to be major ones, like I am purchasing a music class, which is going to be a lot of money, but even just paying for gas, you know, there's so many different ways to find examples of how this business is unfolding into your life. Like with the freedom, it's not all about the money either. Like, some people really love to make their own schedule. I can't wait to not be a teacher and be able to sleep in. Like, that's like my biggest thing right now. And some people can really relate to that. Other people would love the idea of being able to work from their phone and go to the beach and work from the beach and be able to enjoy time with their family and their friends and enjoy the weather. So it's also just really important to not only be building your brand and experimenting with that, but also making sure you're covering a variety of reasons that people might be interested, because they're not all just interested in the same thing. They're not all just interested in money. So definitely mix it up. And sometimes short and sweet is the way to go. Sometimes pouring your heart out in longer, more vulnerable posts is what you need to do. But again, that's up to you to experiment with. And you don't want to, what I've learned is you don't want to do long posts all the time. You want to do more short posts with some long posts thrown in, because it draws more attention to the longer posts. But when you do the longer posts, like, get real. You know, one of the biggest things to remember is that you just need to be honest and vulnerable and not just show off this side of you that is just, oh, like, you know, this is so cool and this is great and everything, but show the world who you are and what you're about, so that your personal branding isn't all surface and depth and no depth. Because if it's all surface, you're not going to make those connections. You're not going to help people relate to you and start building those relationships and start building that trust. And it might also almost seem like too fake or too good to be true, and they're not going to start opening up to you. You want them to open up to you, to start creating that vision with you that is so strong. It creates that excitement and the drive that they need in order to join your team and to, you know, jump in and say, all right, cool, like let's do this. So get real, get vulnerable, show them where you've been, show them how A Works has helped you out, and get out of whatever situation you are in, and show them where you're going. I know firsthand being vulnerable can be very, very scary, and it can feel isolating and unnerving because you don't know how people are going to react. You don't know what they're going to say. You don't know if anyone's going to support you or agree with you. You might be afraid they're going to think you're sounding silly, but I promise that there will always be at least one person who can relate to whatever you're saying, whether it's relating to the situation, whether it's relating to the feeling you experienced, and it's going to establish that connection and start building that trust, and create that vision that what this opportunity has done for your life, they can also do for them, and they get to see what's possible. And once you show someone what's possible, all the boundaries and the hesitations and the doubts really, really start to break down. So
Rachel, can I jump in on that real quick?
Yep.
One of the applicable things that I love that Rachel's talking about is, again, if you're on this, you're a Ruby and above, you've heard some of this before, like write lifestyle posts, get vulnerable. But the applicable part that I think Rachel's doing a great job at is, how many of you have ever told yourself you need to write a lifestyle post? You're in the middle of feeding the baby and you're half asleep and you're like, I'm not inspired to write a good one right now. So she took the time to step back, came up with 25 ideas of like things she would want to either go live or write about, put them on popsicle sticks, and then when it's time to go live or time to write a lifestyle post, she just pulls the popsicle stick and is like, oh yeah, I forgot. That was one of the topics I would want to write about. Right? And it kind of forces her to go through all the sticks and get them on, because most of you know how to write a lifestyle post, but you don't do it consistently every day for 30 days. And that's where you're losing, that's where you're not attracting the number of distributors you want. How many of you have written like 2 or 3 good lifestyle posts and you're like, yeah, but it didn't really lead to anything? See, they can't just see it once or twice. They need to feel that consistency, that is your life and that is your story, and really start to buy into you. And one of the only ways to do that is to be consistent. And so if you heard what Rachel said and was like, yeah, but I'm still not sure if I would go live like every day yet. Fine. Just call it your lifestyle jar. And when you pull an idea out of it, sometimes it's a post, sometimes it's a live, sometimes it's a picture, but put something like that up every single day. And if you heard Sherry's training, she said do 2 exercises. Take a minute and write down everything about yourself that you like who are you? What are you about? And then second exercise, go and write down everything about your story, all the struggles, all the ups, all the downs you've been through, and write posts about those things. Well, I would take that exact exercise and fill a jar with lifestyle ideas. And so I love how Rachel put that in like an applicable type of way. So go ahead.
And it's worked, and it's made me think of topics I wouldn't have already thought of. And another thing that really helps me when I'm stuck on lifestyle posts is I will search for quotes. I love the Boss Babe quotes. There's just something about them, and they're fun. And I always read them, and then it totally inspires me of a topic I didn't even think about. If I come across one that is about the tribe of women, oh, cool, I'm going to write a post about these beautiful teammates that I have that just inspire me and bring out this energy. So finding quotes are really helpful. And then even if you're in the mood to write them and save them. Get a sin share or buffer or just open notes or something on your computer and save them. Don't just say, oh, I'll write it later. While it's in your mind, definitely write it down. And even what Mike was saying with, you always have a backup plan for these topics. I actually loved how, Mike, you just said that, one day the baby's crying and you're trying to feed them and, all this stuff. And you obviously couldn't do a post right then and there. But like, I would even at this point, after getting some experience, I would even like go live afterward and be like, this just happened. And I'm so glad I could step back from all of this, because like, this is my life, but my business is still thriving. Like, because people need to understand that they can do that.
I love that. This is my life. That's the only phrase I heard there. Like, this is my life. It doesn't have to be perfect and pretty and awesome all the time. Like, this is currently what my life is. But let me tell you why I still love that I can just run my business. Like, I just left my mom's birthday party, and I love that I can run a training with some of our growing leaders using technology. Like, I freaking love this. So go ahead and continue.
Yeah. And now those are my biggest tips. So just to recap, like, just make, like, you want them to buy into you. Like, you want to build a trust, you want to build a rapport, you want to show them that you're more than just the business. Show them what you're all about. Build your personal brand and experiment. See what you like, see what calls out to you. Look at different It Works distributors, presidentials, ambassador diamonds. Look at our black diamonds, see what they're doing. See if anything calls out to you, and take different like aspects of what they do and find your own blend. Use the 3 F's, the finance, the freedom, the fun, to inspire yourself, to kind of organize it and to showcase what It Works can do for you, but also for everyone watching that might need this opportunity. And just be real and, you know, show your, like, this is my life, like, good and bad, take it. It's not perfect, but it's here, and I'm growing, and it's amazing.
Awesome, Rachel. Thank you very much for sharing that. To piggyback off of that, and we'll go into our last topic, just the process of sharing your own journey and how powerful that is. By the way, for both loyals and distributors. So I'll give you 2 examples. We have a new distributor on our team. Her first 2 weeks, her name's Bianca. She basically like said she was going to post. She posted a little bit here and there, and then she like really wasn't posting at all. And funny enough, she used the wraps that came in her kit, and she sends us a picture with like, I forget exactly what it said, but it was basically like, holy crap, they work. And suddenly she felt comfortable like sharing a little bit of her journey. And then all of a sudden, without even our like really our leadership, she's hosting like these little wrap parties, and she signs 3 loyals over the next like week. Right? I saw the same thing with the distributor Marie on Facebook just yesterday. She started sharing more about her journey and how she's using the products. Not perfect, right? But the journey she's going through. And boom, signed more customers this past week. And Michelle DeMarco is the last example. Michelle's been doing this thing where she still posts before and afters, but she also does like almost like a daily or weekly update on her own journey. And she'll be like, down 3 more pounds because of this crazy vitamin that I take. I could even see sometimes we're like, I saw Cindy's post today. I loved it. Getting to 50 pounds was easy. For whatever reason, getting that next 1 pound was really hard. Why did I love that? Because it wasn't just progress all the time. It wasn't like, yep, the pounds are just falling off. Like it's just magic, right? She's like, it's been a struggle really getting that next pound to go. But then I started doing X, Y, and Z. It took a week or 2, but now I'm down to 53 pounds down, right? So it's just continuing to update your following on your journey, not just the end result. And see, when you only tell people the end result, like, look at me, I make 10 grand a month now. Look at me, I now have a 6-pack. Look at me, I've now lost 100 pounds. That's when they say, oh, it seems too good to be true. It comes across as scammy. Versus when they see the journey and they see the process, that's when you have more people jump on board with you. Right? Michelle's saying right now she's having one of her biggest months of the year. And a lot of people say like June and July is when it kind of like is the slow season as parents are finishing up school, whatever. But it's because Michelle started sharing that side of her journey. On the distributor side, same thing. Marcella took what Sherry talked about and she really took seriously, like figuring out what she wanted her brand to be about and implementing that. For her, it became about God, marriage, infertility, fitness, and there was a 5th one. Oh, and being a home-based business owner, like how cool entrepreneurship is. And she got just very clear about sharing that journey. And for a while, she was even scared to post about her infertility. And then she heard that branding message and just started getting clear on sharing all her goods and her bads. And she's at, I think it's 5 DTs signed this month already. And she's like, it's crazy. Like, I'm just really being consistent with just sharing my journey and sharing my brand. And she's like, it's really crazy. And she's loving it. Okay, so I just figured I'd share some of those examples. All right, so as we start to wrap up and we get into our final topic, again, with rubies and emeralds, it's not always about teaching you something new. How many of you would agree with that? Right? A lot of you are like, I know how to run the business. It's about clearly staying inspired and focused and having a bigger vision for where you're at right now. And that's why I said I wanted to challenge you to start taking ownership that you build an organization, that you are a leader of a team. Whether it's 2 people or 12 people, you are a leader of a team. Every team I've ever built started at some point with like only 1 or 2 people. And you got to build it from there. On the other side, yes, is vision. I sat down with Marcella today, figures is worth sharing because some of you guys might get inspired by that, but we planned out her 6-week European vacation. Most corporate jobs give you 3 weeks paid vacation, and Marcella's going on a 6-week paid vacation. And we planned out how to make sure her business continues to thrive and grow as she does that. But Marcella will tell you, she really grinded and struggled between the ruby to diamond ranks, right? Hit her diamond, almost actually lost it, and then like really struggled to go after it again. And this was the phase, this ruby and emerald phase, where she had to really like confront herself. She had to figure out what she was good at and not good at. I would say in coaching Marcella, this was the period that she had the most like downs. Like she was like, I can't do this. She got stressed out. She was always all over the place during that period from ruby to diamond. And it was getting clear on when to work. So I'm going to ask Rachel some questions because she's as of right now until the end of the summer, she's a full-time teacher. So Rachel, you leave the house around what time?
7:15.
6:45. So you wake up at what time?
5.
Fun, right? The last bell at school is till
3.
But then you do also a lot of other things, like obviously you do voice training. What are some of the other activities you do that consume your time?
Voice classes, acting classes, dance classes, personal development. Those are the big things right now.
And a lot of those things keep you out until what time in the night if you're like doing one of those courses?
If I'm in the city, sometimes I'll get home at like 9 or 10.
Cool. So the tip I heard from Joel Dunn the other day that I've been sharing with people since I heard it is the power of 30. Right? And it was really interesting how he put it because I've heard it before, but being applied to this business, I really loved. He goes, I work in 30-minute blocks, right? Especially as a home-based business owner, things distract you, right? We're like squirrels when we work from home, right? Someone rings the doorbell, I get hungry, I see the TV, right? So he commits to working in 30-minute blocks. And here's how he put it that was applicable to this business, then I'm going to ask Rachel some questions, is if he decides he's going to message people for 30 minutes, like send outgoing messages, then for that 30 minutes, all he does is send outgoing messages. Now, here's the part that he said that was like, wow, like it almost opened my mind a little bit. He goes, now I might send 15 messages during that 30-minute period, and 3 of them might respond. Do you think he responds to those 3 messages during that 30-minute period? Most of you would. If the 3 responded to you, they're like, oh yeah, I'm interested, or I have questions. He doesn't. He doesn't. And that was really interesting to me because if that 30 minutes was about sending outgoing messages, then that's what he does for that 30 minutes. He sends outgoing messages because that's how you win in this business is if you send like 15 messages a day, 5 days a week, that's like 75 messages. But the problem is most of us say we're going to send 15 messages, and then someone responds, we get so excited, we're in that conversation, we don't send the 14 others. We don't plant enough seeds, he said, because we get so excited about the one flower that starts growing. Does that make sense? We get one distributor on our team, we stop building relationships with 49 other potentials. We get 3 loyals one week, we stop sending out other messages. And so he works in 30-minute increments. If it's 30 minutes of interacting, he interacts. If it's 30 minutes of adding new friends, he adds new friends. If it's 30 minutes of coaching a distributor, he coaches the distributor. And I thought that was really interesting to make sure the money-making activities are getting done. So to wrap up, Rachel, walk us through how you make sure the key money-making activities get done on a weekly or daily basis. Actually, let's start with this first. What are the prioritized actions that, like, no matter what, every week you make sure you get done when it comes to social media or talking to potentials?
So I am always planting seeds by interacting with people. Interacting people on my friends list. I'm sending messages to everyone who has a birthday ever. And I do the same thing Joel does. If they message me back, I totally ignore them. I am always plugged in and checking in with the groups and everything. I'm always plugged in with my personal groups, like interest groups and stuff like that. I'm always sending out messages. I have specific times when I check in with my DTs. I have specific times where I check in with my loyal customers.
So social media only though, like so it sounds like you're always making sure you're interacting in the groups that you want to be a part of, like if it's a singing group or a dancing group, and you're always sending messages. And the third thing I heard was interacting. So you're always interacting, adding new friends, and messaging people. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what are normally the blocks of time that you work in? Second to last question. Do you work in 15-minute blocks, hour blocks? Like, how do you operate best?
So it usually depends. If I have time at home, I usually try to do like an hour each, and I'll block it into like my relationship building hour. And I have focus hours, like I talked about at the last team meeting, where I have a different focus each day, and that's for an hour. My other ones, like the adding people, the participating in the groups, the birthdays, I do during school, during my breaks. So sometimes I have 5 minutes, sometimes I have 10 minutes, sometimes I do my lunch, sometimes I do it on my prep. Sometimes I do it like today when my kids are watching a movie and I have another hour.
It's not always pretty. It's not always perfectly planned, not always good.
Yeah, it's always, but I like it because it's very unstructured to the point where it is structured, because I know in my head, like I have specific things, and in the morning, I always do my schedule in the morning, and I always write down all the activities so then I can cross it out as I go. But I always have a game plan of like, all right, first I do this, and then when I'm done with that, if I have time, I do the next. And I have a plan that goes along with all the craziness.
Awesome. Very cool. And I was going to ask you a question. So you plan out in the morning, right? That's when you plan out?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then like, what is your non-negotiable every week, no matter what? Your business isn't, like, you didn't keep your store open if you didn't what?
Plan out my posts for the week. I normally don't pre-schedule them. I'll schedule them like that morning. I love doing everything in the morning, but I have a plan. Like I know what I'm doing for the week so that I don't even have to think about it in the morning. I just pull and go and adapt and put it all together.
Awesome, guys. So as we grow to Diamond, guys, whether you hit Ruby and lost rank, whether you're at Ruby and you just got there recently, or you're a thriving, strong Ruby running to Diamond right now, the things we wanted to drive home on our first Ruby and Emerald Growing Leaders call today, what I want you to walk away with was you got to put in more action than got you to Ruby. And so if you kind of steadied out like, oh, this is just the business, no, this is where you got to flip the switch. Number two, you got to take ownership now. Like if I'm going to go to Diamond, that's up to me, and I got to learn that. And number three, you have to have a leader's like growth mentality. You got to start sharing your story and your journey, because without distributors, you're not going to grow an organization. And I love some of the tips Rachel gave, from structuring, ideas and taking the time to do that and stepping out of your comfort zone and getting vulnerable. And lastly, you can get to Ruby very messy, like inconsistent, like working sometimes at 100, working sometimes at 10, but it's going to be very hard to get to Diamond working like that. And so that's what we figured we'd end with, just a short conversation about routine. And you heard some of Rachel's tips. Like she likes planning in the morning. I, funny enough, like planning at night. But the point is there are non-negotiables. There's blocks of windows. Like Rachel said, it's not always pretty, but she knows what she needs to get done. So, the kids are watching a movie. Boom, let me take 15 minutes to interact. But the point is she's in action and she's getting those things done with a little bit of planning. So we hope you took something away from tonight. Some FYIs in leaving here. Green carpets next week. Next week, right? Green carpets next week. As of now, we heard they're not doing a live stream, which I know we're a little disappointed about, but I'm just sharing that with you so you can stay plugged in, be looking for the updates. I heard there are 2 new products coming out. One is going to blow moms' minds, from what I heard. And another one is like a revamp of one of our favorite products, is what I heard. I don't know for sure, right? And so some really cool stuff. I heard new training programs are being released, like the new manual and corporate trainings. I heard there's a program for men being announced to help us better attract male distributors as well, because we're losing 48% of the population by making this business feel like it's super girly, right? And so that opens up the business to so many more potentials for you. But some really exciting things coming from Green Carpet next week, so be on the lookout for that. Number 2, Ruby and Emerald training is the 3rd Thursday of every month. The 3rd Thursday of every month. So that means in July, it's going to be July 20th. Same time, 8:30 to 9:15, okay? So July 20th, 8:30 to 9:15. I'll be featuring a different diamond on that one, but it'll be with me again and a different diamond. And lastly, it's only June 15th. There are 15 big days of this month. The second half of the month is always bigger than the first half of the month. I'm challenging our growing leaders to go have a great second half of the month and really start building towards diamond. We want to grow our diamond team. We want to add more leaders to diamond, and that's why we decided to invest more of our time with this community. So we hope you felt poured into. We hope this gave you a little wake-up call in the middle of the month here, and let's close out the second half of the week. If we're unavailable the next couple of days, we're having a baby. If we are available, then what the heck, we're just still waiting. So there's Leah. She's waiting.
Waiting. Big belly.
All right, guys. Have an outstanding night. We love you guys. Let's go rock and roll.